We're here at Bourbon Street on Bell Boulevard in Bayside, right down the block from Gregg Lasak's headquarters, with the judge himself. Judge, it's great to see you here. You're having this wonderful fundraiser, great turnout, and congratulations. You're putting together a very aggressive campaign. Your guys have been out on the street hitting everybody, and I've never seen a campaign quite so aggressive, so a lot of people believe in you. Tell us a little bit about your history.
Well, as you know, I was raised in Woodside, the Woodside section of Queens. Went to St. Sebastian School, Holy Cross High School out here in Bayside, Queens College in Flushing. And then I took a trip into Manhattan for law school. And came back to Queens, and I went into the district attorney's office, worked my way up through the ranks, started trying murder cases. And by the time I was 30 years old, I was named the chief of the Homicide Bureau. I tried many major cases, many homicide cases. I tried cop killers and mass murderers. And then I became the executive assistant district attorney in charge of the major crimes division. That encompasses the homicide bureaus, the career criminal bureau, major case bureau, the special victims bureau, and I created the domestic violence bureau out of the special victims bureau. So I handled all the major cases back then. And in 2003, I received a nomination for a Supreme Court judgeship. One of the things I'm most proud of my time in the DA's office is I was able to re-examine and reinvestigate cases where there was an allegation that the wrong man had been arrested, indicted, or convicted. And I was able to free approximately 20 men who had been wrongfully detained in prison, some of them for 5-6 years. Charges of rape, murder, and robbery. That's what I'm most proud of. Then I sat as a Supreme Court judge. Those terms are the longest elected term in the United States. They're 14-year terms. And I worked my way up to be the deputy administrative judge, the number 2 judge in Queens County in the criminal term. And I got reelected. I was presiding over major cases, many homicide cases, about 60 of them. And one of them was the murder of police officer Brian Moore, who was murdered in the 105th Precinct. He was convicted in front of me, and I sentenced him to life without parole. In addition, the Imam Akanji, who was murdered a few years ago on Liberty Avenue and 79th Street. I presided over the trial of the man, Oscar Morell, who was indicted for killing him. And he was also convicted in front of me. And I sentenced him to life without parole. I resigned my judgeship with 13 more years left on it. And when I spoke to Judge Brown, he told me he wasn't going to run again. And that's why I resigned, because you can't run for political office while you're sitting as a judge. And here I am today.
It's an interesting lateral move to decide to resign as a judge and to go back to being a prosecutor and a DA. Tell us about that.
Well, I've lived in Queens my whole life. First half in Woodside, second half in Richmond Hill. My wife and I moved there back in 1986. We raised our 3 children in Richmond Hill. Our oldest son, Danny, is a state trooper. Our middle son, Gregory, is a DA. And our daughter, Kristen, is a corporate attorney. I love Queens. I'm not going to leave Queens. When I heard people who were thinking about running for DA, I decided that with my qualifications, there's no comparison between myself and those people. Two of these people are politicians. They're good politicians, but the job of district attorney is too important and too serious to a politician who has no idea of what goes on in that office. As a DA, you're the chief law enforcement official of the county, and you have to have the special training and experience. The main thing is the experience, and they don't have it. And
tell us about you're going to set up a bureau to help exonerate innocent people. Tell us about the bureau you want to set up. That's an interesting move.
Well, I don't know what we're going to call it, but it's going to make official the work that I was doing unofficially when I was the executive assistant DA when I was reinvestigating these cases. A lot of offices have them, and they call them conviction integrity units. I'm not sure what I'm going to call it, but I'm going to make sure it's staffed with seasoned prosecutors, seasoned investigators, who are open to the thought that possibly this could be a wrong man. Because you need that open-mindedness to investigate those cases carefully.
Listen, thank you very much for the interview. You bring a lot to the table. Are there any other qualified candidates? Evidently, everyone's talking about you being the most qualified.
Well, if you saw the Daily News today, the editorial board of the Daily News endorsed my candidacy, and they wrote a beautiful editorial in today's news. You can read that, and that'll sum it up for you.
All right, we're all going to check out today's news. Thank you again for the interview. Good luck.
Gregg, thank you.